All right, what are some goals you think the youth should have in mind when they're pursuing their athletic career? That's the first side of this question. And then you being in esports, how can you let people know how they could possibly get involved with esports?
So I think as an athlete, if you're going to pursue athletics at a high level, whether it be high school, if you're a high schooler and you want to play in college, you're already in college and you want to, increase your performance in college. But regardless of where you're at, if you want to perform well, as cliche as it sounds, the number one thing is always going to be to work hard. And like I said, I know it sounds cliche, but nobody ever gets anywhere without putting in a lot of work. Like you have to be someone that's motivated and determined on what you're doing and what matters to you. So if you're a basketball player, like you should love basketball. Like it should be fun for you to get into the gym and take shots during the day. It should not feel like a chore. And through that process, you will be working harder than those around you because a lot of people, they don't really love stuff. They may say they like it, but their ego is really like what drives it. Whereas if you're like truly in love with what you're doing and you're putting in the work, it doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like you're doing, what you love. But the other part of that is there's going to be certain things that you don't like all the time, and those are usually the things that people tend to stray away from. Like let's say you love basketball, you love shooting, you love football, you love like running routes to the receiver or catching the ball, like whatever. But if you don't want to put in work in say the weight room, that's probably where you need to spend your time. So those things go hand in hand where you should love what you're doing and it should feel like you're achieving your goal and that's why you're working hard. But at the same time, it has to be for like if there's something you don't like, you have to go push towards that too and put the effort into that because that's where you're going to see improvement. But the other thing that's really important, I think, more than anything else, is confidence and balance and how you mentally approach like the game, how you mentally approach your team, like team structure, all that. Because if you can't come in somewhere and be confident in yourself but have balance in your life elsewhere, like if your grades are out of whack or if you're not taking care of like eating at home or your sleep schedule, that's all going to mess with you on the court as a competent player, and in turn it's going to affect team dynamic and you're going to drag yourself and your teammates down with it. And I think for me that was one of the biggest lessons I learned playing at Elgin Community College was, I would work really hard. Like I consider myself one of the hardest workers. Like when I played, like I felt like I got in the gym a lot. I put myself through a lot to become better, and I saw a lot of improvement. But when I would get here, I was nervous about things. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't working out. So a lot of time my confidence was shot, and you could see it when I was in the court. And like in turn, people didn't really have confidence in me, and it wasn't in a negative way, but it was like, how can you put Brandon out there and trust him to go do his job when he's out there a nervous wreck? And the skill was there, and you knew like at any given time, like yeah, I could take a three, I could pull up in the mid range, I could do. There were a whole bunch of things I could do, and maybe I'd hit the shot. But if I was freaking out or I didn't feel confident in myself, I was ultimately going to mess up, and then it would hurt the team, and then it hurts the team dynamic because then other people are going, well, why is he out there? So I think keeping your life in balance, that you're making sure you're taking care of all the important things, and then also being confident out on the court because you're working hard, you have your life in order, you know what you're doing, and you're able to live with the results then because you have integrity in what you're doing is incredibly important to performing at a high level on any sports team. And I would say as far as esports goes, the same thing transfers over. It's kind of like typical to say this, but I feel like a lot of people that are gamers like don't take care of themselves. It's like we'll sit there all day and play the game and play the game and play the game, and that's great. But like, did you eat today? Did you go and work out? Are you active? Are you doing things like that? Because if you don't look good, if you're not taking care of your health, if you don't feel good, you're not going to perform well behind the screen. Like you may play good because you practice a lot, but when you play at the highest level, other people are going to outperform you that are taking care of those things. Like if you go and look at, the people winning championships, they're not, people that are not taking care of other areas of their lives. Like they usually are running multiple parts of their lives very well. And that's true for anything, esports, actual sports, business. Like people that are really succeeding are taking care of all areas of their lives and valuing them as other parts of their ultimate goal and what matters to them. So I think that that's incredibly important. And another, I'd say the last thing that I would say is important, and this kind of goes hand in hand with both sports and esports, it's like you need to learn how to fill a role for a certain period of time, but then understand that you at any moment can be like you can be the best shooter on the court, and you have to fill a role as a shooter because someone else might be the guy. Like when you come into a new place, you're not going to be that guy right away because people need to see that from you, like your coaches, your teammates, whoever. But you should still have the confidence that I'm the best player on the floor at any given point in time, but I'm filling this specific role. And then when other people aren't performing, that's how you're actually going to be a good teammate, is you're going to be able to pick up your teammates because you'll have that confidence to know, like, this is what I can do, and this is how I can help all of you by, like, coming out of your shell a little bit in those moments, and then over time, that's how you become the guy, like, so to speak. I don't know.
Alright.
It's all, I'm kind of like winging it.